Welcome to Blender Frenzy, I'm Justin, and in this video we are doing the eyes, which will conclude all of the extra pieces that we've done. We got the pistons, the gears, and now the eyes with the little trackball things that we have that hold the eyes in place. So that is what we're doing in this video, and we are almost done, finally, with putting all this together. It's been a long, slow process, but it's looking pretty cool. I think I'll have a video or two about how to unwrap and bake everything into one texture, and then that'll probably be the conclusion of this series. But for now, when you're ready, let's get started. If you want to see more Terminator stuff, just come over to blenderfrenzy.com and you can see my new Blender Frenzy VFX course all about head tracking in Blender using the Terminator skull that we're making. Click take a look, and then you can see what that's all about. If you scroll down, you'll get the skull. You'll see what we're going to create, making it look like the Terminator skull is under your skin, whole bunch of stuff on how to film and how to create negative space and all of the good stuff here. You can check that out. If you just want the free starting file, start with the freebie single downloads. And then I've got a couple of them up here. I'll be adding more to this, but you can start with the T800 Metal Skull starting blend file here. And that is so you can start ready to go with the series, building your metal skull. And of course, if you want more, you can go to the Blender freebies, click sign up, and then you can see the member levels and what you can expect from those. You can also see what's inside and then scroll down to see all of the videos and extra videos on the Pro that you'll be receiving if you want. And again, that's blenderfrenzy.com. So now let's head back to the video. Okay, so now let's get the eyeball going here. So if we look at our image here, we're going to model it on this. Let's go ahead and hide the rest of our stuff over here. Shift right click to put the 3D cursor there. Again, if you don't see that, it's right here. And then Alpha here as well. Shift right click. And let's add in an UV sphere. And you can see that we want the top, the poles here, where all of the points come together, we want that to be rotated. So we're just going to rotate that in the side view, 90. And now you can see we can just scale it to where it just matches up with, I'm going to scale it out to where these track balls are. Maybe in something like this here. Also looking at around like the middle of the eye and these rings. Okay, so let's move it back on the Y to here, like that. And this is just fine because we're actually going to be projecting from the front anyway, so it's going to look like this. But of course, the front of it shouldn't actually be completely round like this. So we're going to take these faces here, also these faces, and I don't want to be in proportional editing. Let's actually come over here and pull them back on the Z like that. I guess it's pulling back all of these here. And yeah, that looks a little bit more like you would expect that eyeball to look. Let's come out into object mode and shade auto smooth like that. We could even take these and we can maybe just grab those and pull those out just a slight bit more. Okay, and let's see what that looks like in the side view. Probably need to grab and just move this on the Y just a little bit more. Let's see what it looks like with our skull and in our layout. There we go. All right, not too bad. We do want to probably make a little bit more room for this with the skull. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to duplicate the skull, of course, and let's go out of subdivision here and put our backup in the backup. Take this inside, well, let's hide this for now. And let's take this ring here. And then this isn't mirrored, so we're going to have to take this one at the same time. I'm going to try to do this without breaking too many things here. Let's change our pivot to individual origins so that we can scale that up a little bit in the back. And let's see what that looks like. That's a little bit better. Maybe we can actually just take them both and pull them up. The back of the eye sockets there. There you go. That actually looks a lot better. And then I think maybe I don't want to take the front and move it up because in my practice I did that and then it looks like he was raising his eyebrows and I don't want to do that. So let's add a ring here. Add a ring here. And again, I'm trying to do this at the same time because, again, not mirrored. Just trying to make room kind of like for the top here. Let's see what that one, that's this one, I believe. Is that the right one? And then grab and move that up. Yeah. Okay. And then maybe take these two, maybe take these two here, which are these two here, I believe. Grab and move those down just a little bit. And maybe also these. Move those down just to make some room for that eye. And let's just see what that looks like in subdivision. Yeah, that's good enough, I think, for now. And we can also close the back of the eye socket. First, we can actually bring it back a little bit on the Y, the global Y, and bring that back just a little bit. And then we can Control F and grid fill. Will that work? Okay, that won't work. Closed loops are unsupported. So we need to just select like these 4 down here, maybe 5. So these 5 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 5 up here. So shift select this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, control select that one, and then control F grid fill. There we go. And then down here, we can simple blending, make that a little bit nicer there. So let's see if we can remember that. Let's do these 5 and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these 5. Grid fill and simple blending is on already, so they should match. And in sub D, looks like that. And then we have our sphere. All right, and let's take the eye and add in a mirror modifier, and then we want it to be on the X. If your model is positioned differently, you might need to choose a different axis here, but I'm going to choose the mirror object as the skull. And there we go. Perfect. And now let's reproject this. So we need to give the eye actually material, which is just going to be the skull. And then we need to come to UV editing, select the whole thing. We'll go ahead and reproject the side first, even though we're not going to be using the side all that much. But you can see we only have one UV map and it's not named the same. So if we select this one, you can see we have UV front and UV side, or UV underscore front and UV underscore side, which is, we need to match that here. So I'm just going to rename this one and then add another one just like that. And so this is the side. So in edit mode, select everything, U project from view. And now you can see it's projected it just like we want it to. But of course, we need to also come to the front, select our front, and then choose our front image. And then U project from view. And now that should be projected just right, just like that. Awesome. Okay, so the only thing that is left are these trackball holder things. And so I'm going to hide everything here to make this. I need let's go to our layout. Let's just add in our eyeball is still. That is where our eyeball is. Okay, that's fine. We'll put it there. Okay, Justin from the future, and I'm re-recording this section because it was a little convoluted and I have a much easier way to create those tracks for the eyes. So I've just opened up a new instance of Blender and I'm going to delete everything and add in a cylinder. And then let's just scale this down a little bit like that and then apply that scale. And then in edit mode, in edge select mode, I'm just going to Control R and scroll up You can go as many as you want. Depends on how thick you want those extenders to go out, and I'll show you here. I'm just going to do 4. Alt Shift select the top and the bottom, and then with these, X to dissolve those edges. And what this has done is created 2 edge loops here that are completely evenly spaced. So from here to here and from here to here, completely even on both sides. Let's go into X-ray and in top mode, and let's go into vertex select. I'm going to draw a box and select all of these, and that's what that's done. Let's go out of X-ray, and then in face select, I'm going to hover over one of these edges and press Shift, Alt, and then click so that we get rid of that middle part. And now we can E to extrude that out. In this case, I'm going to go on the X, but I think in the actual blend file with the skull, you have to go back on the Y. But either way, this is how it's done. And then the last thing I'm going to do is take these faces in here, and then Alt-E, extrude faces along normals, just push that out just a little bit there, like that. And then we tab out into object mode, right click, shade auto smooth. There we go. That is all we have to do, and that is how you do it. Of course, I should have extruded it on the Y, so we can just rotate this on the Z 90, like that. So it'll be something like that. And now let's enable our skull and our sphere. Let's go into our split view here and down here and rotate that. Actually, it's going to be looks like this. And then we'll scale that down. Scale on the Y. Nope, it's actually going to be the Z, the local axis. And remember, we are in normal transform orientation mode. Okay, and something like this. So I'm just doing a little bit of creative freedom here, and then we're just going to pull this back on the Y, which is going to be like around here somewhere. You don't really see it in here. I don't know if this picture actually even has it. Let's see what that looks like here. Yeah, that's not too bad. I am going to also just move that up so it's touching this. It's not quite on the front picture, but I don't really care about that all that much. We're going to just have this be a straight metal texture anyway. It's going to be pretty easy. Okay, and that can maybe even be a little bit smaller. And then let's also add the skull as a material to that. And before we project, let's duplicate this and then rotate it around here. Now, in order to do that, I want to rotate it around the eyeball. And the eyeball needs to have the origin point in the center of it. So make sure that it is. If it's not, we can just say set origin to geometry. And now with the eyeball selected, Shift S, cursor to selected. So the cursor is now right smack dab on that origin. And then we can select this one, right click, set origin to 3D cursor. So now this one's origin is on the 3D cursor, and if I rotate it, it's going to rotate around the eyeball. So in front mode, they both rotate around the eyeball center. And now I can just Shift D to duplicate that, and then rotate that around up somewhere up here, and we can go here to kind of place that. And again, these things are bigger, it looks like in this picture, but I don't know if I want them that big in my model. I think this is going to be fine. I also want to make sure that they go back far enough, which it doesn't appear to up here. Actually, you know what I can do? Instead of Shift D to duplicate those, I think I can make an instance of them. Is that Alt D? And then if I am in front mode and I rotate that around here, something like that. I believe if I change one of them, it's going to change the other one, right? Let's just try it. So if I take the bottom, so if I take the bottoms of these, so if I take the bottom of these, grab and move those back, yep, it's going to move all of them to where they are going behind the skull. There we go, like that. Awesome, let's do that. Can I make a instance of an instance? I think I can. And this is going to be, we'll just say right here, even though you're not going to be able to see it very well, we're just going to put it there. and then Alt D, rotate that around here like this. And we might need to make some room for that as well. And I want to do a little test again. Yep, okay, so if I move one of them, they all move. Okay, perfect. Okay, so yeah, now we need to, let's rename this stuff here. So this is the eye, and this is the, I'm actually going to select all of these here. Not the skull, just these cylinders here. And then Control J to join those together into one. Eye tracks. Okay, and then we can add in a mirror modifier on these as well. And now we can adjust the skull geometry to make room for this. Let's just take this and this. Just take those two, and in medium point, I can scale them on the X, kind of closer together. That way they're kind of the same. Maybe also move them down a smidge, just so that we can kind of see those trackball things there. If I go in here, since they're all one object now, I can just, I have to select the linked ones. And then we'll grab those and move those forward. Oh, I want to deselect. We'll deselect those. Okay, and then we can grab and move these on the Y just forward just a little bit. Actually, let's pull our skull back in here so we can kind of see that. And of course, this is all personal preference right now, so all right, that's good enough, I think. Let's take everything. So let's take these first. Shift select our eyeball, shift select the skull, and then go into UV editing tab over here, select everything. And remember, we have the mirror modifier on this, which is just fine for now. Although we got to make sure that we have, I forgot about this. So with these, of course, we need to have the same UV maps. So UV, okay, Justin from the future again, making this a little less convoluted. Essentially, we just need to match the UV map indexes, the UV front and side here, and just put those here, because right now you can see in this object we have the UV front is red and the UV side is red in our skull texture or our skull material. And so what we need to do is just make a UV front and a UV side. So we can rename this one front. And once we do that, if we hover over here, you can see the red goes away because now this exists. But right now UV side doesn't exist, so we can just make one, and now it exists. And now we can reproject these. Okay, so let's select our stuff again. Make sure we have our eye and skull selected as well. Go to UV editing. If you're not in edit mode already, go ahead and go into edit mode. Let's disable the subdivision. Select everything, and let's do the front first since we're in front already. So U, project from view. Now we have our projection in the front with everything. And then let's go to the side UV map index over here, and then of course our camera side here, and U, project from view. And now that's all projected correctly again. And if we come back over here into our subdivision and go to our material preview, ta-da! We now have everything reprojected like it should be. Okay, so let's enable everything that we have created here, all of our extra pieces and our jaw and everything. And this is what we have. If we go into front mode, you can see it matches up perfectly with our picture. Now we can join them all together into one, but I'm not going to do that just yet. We're just going to parent stuff together. So we still have the mirror modifier on these, all of these. So essentially, I'm just going to select all of our loose parts that we've created and then shift select the skull last. You know what? Let's add the jaw too. So take the jaw, but shift select the skull last. So everything is selected with the skull last being the active one. Then we can say Control P to parent, and we're going to say parent by object keep transform, so that if anything has moved, it'll stay in the same spot that we have it in right now. Okay, so now everything should be parented to that skull, but because of those mirror modifiers, you can see it is moving those away, which I'm not entirely sure why. Actually, I think I know. It's because these are parented to our copy of our skull and not the actual skull that we're using now. So it's based on the duplicate skull. So what we're going to do is just change this. This is skull 10 and this is skull 11. So we're just going to change this to our proper skull here with that, and same thing here with that one. And now if I move this skull, it should move correctly. Awesome. Okay, so now we can have a Terminator skull floating in the background or pretending like it's walking without its body. Okay, so now we have our full skull put together. The last thing we want to do is to UV unwrap this and bake everything that we've projected onto a single texture so that it sticks without having the projection from the images that we created, essentially creating one image of the two in the way that we've projected and painted it onto our model. So when you're ready, head on over to the next one.